should check it out. It's extraordinary. And he's here to help you see a bigger vision for yourself. He's here to help you expand your thinking and make a big decision in order to be able to impact the quality of your life. So do all of us proud in the GoPro community and give a big GoPro welcome to the one and only Ed Mylett.
Brother. Thank you, brother. Thank you. Thank you. I can't hear you. Hey, Robin, I see you. Sheila, Monica, Jennifer. I got you all. Julie, Michelle, Alfred. Good to be with you guys. All right, thank you so much. So, who wants to change their life? Who's ready right now? All right, if you're ready to change your life, it's going to take one decision. You are one decision away from completely transforming your life. I just want to hear from you. If you want to make that one decision in the next 45 minutes, and I will help you make it, just type a 1 into the chat right now. Who's ready? Type a 1 into the chat. Tell me you're ready to make that one decision. I want to hear from you. Okay, we just have thousands of people ready to make that one decision. And I'm going to spend the next 45 minutes helping you make it. The first thing I want to tell you, and this is important, I want you to hear me on this. If you get nothing out of what I talk about today, other than this message right now, I want you to remember something. You were born to do something great with your life. You were. You weren't born to be average and ordinary. And I know sometimes in life starts sort of happening. It feels like life's happening to us, doesn't it? You know, there's a pandemic, something happens, there's a relationship setback, maybe our career hasn't worked out the way we wanted to, our dreams have shrunk a little bit, and we forget that we were born to do something great with our lives, that you're not an accident. It's by no accident you're at this event with these great leaders during this message right now. And I feel that from my heart. You know, I'm one of these people who made that one decision. And because of that one decision, because you're not just a decision away, you're a relationship, you're one meeting, in your business, you're one recruit away from completely transforming your life. One person, it's always one. And I'm that person that in my life, I come from an average, actually, I don't even know if my background's average and ordinary. I always say I'm average and ordinary. I'm not even sure I started average. I'm not even sure. I come from a family, like maybe some of you do, that's not perfect. How many of you come from a family that's not exactly perfect? Okay, just like every single one of you. By the way, Lavina, is that your real name? That is one of the most beautiful dang names I've ever heard in my life. Look at you. What a gorgeous name. So, let me tell you a little bit about my background, just so we can connect in the beginning, because I'm going to help you shift your life right now. I have to tell you, my life, see, things in your life haven't happened to you. They've always been happening for you. They've always been happening for you. See, I know who I am in my life because I know whose I am. God made me in his image and likeness to do something great with my life. And I'm not here to preach at you, but he did the same with you. He knew you'd be in this meeting today. He knew every single thing that's happened to you in your life up to this very second with me here today. And he even knew how amazing your life's going to be when I'm done here today. And these things in your life that have got you here have been happening for you and not to you. And that always reveals itself, doesn't it, in our lives. In our lives, we always figure out eventually, wow, this happened for me. It just usually takes time before we realize, nah, that relationship ended for me. Nah, I don't work there anymore. That happened for me, not to me. Even the difficult things in our lives have been happening for us the entire time. Now, what if you could begin to know that that's happening in the midst of the dark times in your life? Because although you're here today, not all of you arrive here today with everything going perfect in your life. Otherwise, you wouldn't want to change it. And for me, when I grew up, I said I'd come from an average family. We were average, but we had dysfunction too. I was raised by an alcoholic. My dad was an alcoholic my entire time I lived in his home. And you come from probably some dysfunction too. It could be alcoholism, drug addiction, there was a divorce, maybe everybody didn't say I love you enough. Who knows, right? We all have these things in life. In mine, my dad had a drinking problem. Now, I ended up getting sober because he made one decision at one point to stop doing that. And that one decision changed his entire life. But everything happens for us and not to us. Let me give you an example. I'm the oldest boy. I have 3 sisters, 3 younger sisters. And before my dad knew he would go on these kind of drinking binges, right? So my dad, when I'm 4 or 5 years old, I'm telling you this story so you see your life and the things you go through in the prism of what I'm describing. My dad, before he would go on one of these drinks, he'd come here. I'm 4 or 5 years old. He'd go, hey, listen to me. You take care of your mom and your sisters while I'm gone. Like I was going to protect the house at 4 or 5 years old. And I remember, I don't have a lot of great gifts and strengths. I'm a pretty good communicator, pretty good speaker. I love people. I have a heart to help people. But one of my strengths is, man, do I read people well. I can meet you, and in about a minute or two, I can read you. I know what your needs are, your wants are. I connect with people very well. I wasn't born with that. You know why that happened? Because when my dad would come home, I had to figure out very quickly who was walking through that front door. At 4 or 5 years old as a little boy. Picture me as a little boy. Is this drunk dad? You know, he's gonna come in and have some drinks, he's a little bit grumpy, I need to keep mom and my sisters away from him? Or is this sober dad who wants to play catch in the backyard? In fact, I got so good at it when I was 5, 6 years old that I could tell by the sound the key made in the door which dad was showing up. If the key went into the lock real quick and he walked in, dad was probably sober. If it took him a few minutes and he struggled, well, I knew what I was dealing with when he walked through that front door. That skill is my #1 skill I've used to make hundreds of millions of dollars. As a little boy going through that sort of dysfunction, and I made hundreds of millions of dollars because of my ability to do 2 things: read people and then communicate with them to change their state and get them to do something that serves them. I started practicing that at 4 or 5 years old with my alcoholic dad. I want you to think about that. Then where else did my life change? I'm an entrepreneur who's made lots of money, but I've never in my life set out to make money. I've always set out to serve people. Let me give you a story about this. Maybe you could see yourself in this story. My dad got sober. I came home from college. I was a college baseball player. I was unemployed. I'm sleeping on my mom and dad's couch. So I don't know where you're at right now, but my entrepreneurial journey started in my mom and dad's house, eating out of their refrigerator, broke, no job, no gas money, no nothing. My dad comes home from his first AA meeting, first one he went to, first meeting. He goes, hey, I got you a job, man. And I said, well, you know, what's this job? What am I going to be doing? He goes, you don't get to choose. You're eating my food. You get your butt down there tomorrow morning at 6 a.m. and you show up. I said, do you know what it is? I don't even know what it is. He said, Tim, this guy I met at the meeting, he got you a job. I said, well, I'm college educated. You know, I should be pretty slick. He goes, you don't get to pick. Get your butt down there. So sure enough, I get down there at 6 a.m. the next morning. I walk in. I said, hey, I'm Ed. I'm here for the job. They're like, what job? I said, I got no idea. They said, well, come back when you know what it is. I said, what is this place? They said, we're an orphanage. There's hundreds of boys here. These boys were all removed from their homes. Their parents are either dead, incarcerated, or have molested them. And I'm like, well, I'm definitely in the wrong place because I'm not a counselor. I'm not a psychologist. I'll come back when I know the job. I get to the door and I go, well, I know the guy who referred me. His name is Tim. And they go, oh, drunk Tim. He's in Cottage 8. Go over to Cottage 8. And my life changed in that moment. And I walked into Cottage 8 at McKinley Home for Boys. I walked in. My 12 boys were there. They're all 8 to 10 years old, running around getting ready for school that day. I walk in, and they all stop, and they all look at me with those eyes. I know those eyes. Those of us that come from any dysfunction, we have a little bit different eyes. It's a little bit different. Just a little different. We just want somebody to love us. These boys wanted someone to love them. Write this down. Believe in them. Care about them. And show them how to live a little bit better. Love, care, believe, and show them how to live a little bit better. And I became their big brother. I became their dad. I took them to school every day. I was there when we went trick-or-treating. I was there when we opened Christmas on Christmas Day. I was there when their mom or uncle was supposed to show up and they didn't show up, and I loved my life. Those boys became my family. They completely changed my life because in that moment, I figured out, oh my gosh, you know what I love? It's not making money. It wasn't being an athlete. I love helping people. Like, I love this. And I love how my heart feels when I make a difference in someone's life. And it was while I was working there that I got recruited into the business that most of you all are in some way, shape, or form. And I went into the business, Kennedy. I went into the business. There you go, girl. Look at me. I went into the business to help people. And you know what I discovered when I went into our business? Just like my boys, you know what every adult wants? You know what Paula Pratt wants? You know what Ginger wants? She wants someone to love her. care about her, believe in her, and show her how to do a little bit better. Every human being you will ever meet in your life, you want the key to recruiting and building people? I don't care if they're big, bad, strong, and successful and making a bunch of money. People ask me all the time, how do you coach all these professional athletes? How do you coach world leaders? Why do all these entertainers and these multimillionaires want you to be their coach? Because I know what they want. What they want is someone to love them, care about them, believe in them, and show them how to live a little bit better. And when you get great at just conveying that in your way, you begin to connect with people. They begin to stick with you. You begin to become magnetic. You become special. I've made millions of dollars never trying to make millions of dollars because I truly love, care, believe in people, and I can show them how to live a little bit better. That's the key to being a great recruiter. Too many of you, one of the things about me, because I grew up pretty broke, is I'm cheap. So I'm not going to go through everything, but I got a Global Express jet. I've got a $30 million oceanfront house. I got a house for sale right now that's $35 million. If you want to buy it, it's in La Quinta, California. I just bought an island, my own island, 100-acre island. Own all that stuff free and clear. Own it all cash, okay, which is pretty cool. I have no debt. The Bible says, owe no man nothing. I have no debt, no mortgage, no nothing. I got an American Express card I pay every month. But I don't know if you're like me. I'll try to milk a tube of toothpaste to its death. Any of you like this? Any of you get to the end of the toothpaste and you just like poking a hole, you're squeezing that thing. You're like, there's no toothpaste left in this thing. You cut it. You know what I'm talking about, right? I'm worth hundreds of millions of dollars, and I'm still breaking my wrist to try to squeeze another day of toothpaste out of this tube. Y'all know what I'm talking about, right? Y'all do it. Look at you. You still doing the same stupid crap I do. Right? Doesn't it feel good when you finally go get a new big tube? You know what I mean? Like, you just go spend the $3. You got this bread. You're like, man, I can push anywhere on this thing. I'm getting plenty of flow, plenty of tooth. Doesn't it feel good? You finally throw away that damn old tube. You know exactly what I'm talking about. That's your problem in the business. You're trying to squeeze these couple recruits you got like an old tube of toothpaste. See if you can get a little bit more out of them. You got to go get a new tube. You got to get a new tube, man. You got to get some new recruits. You already squeezed that tube. You already got what you're going to get from it. You got to go get a new tube, and it feels good. You get a new recruit, get a new tube. It's like, wow, this is all the possibilities when you got that new tube. Too many of you are running your business like that old tube of toothpaste trying to squeeze one more out of them instead of getting it together and getting a new one. So how do we get new ones? How do we get new recruits? How do we grow our businesses? What's the decision we need to make? I'm going to tell you. I'm going to tell you right now. We could pull up my presentation. I'm going to ask you a question first. Where can I see my presentation, guys? Where would it be? I don't see it anywhere. I don't see it because it's not up yet? There we go. All right, pull that sucker up for me. I'm going to click through it. Let me ask you a question. What do these people have in common? How do you become a great recruiter? How does one become a great recruiter? Because that's what you got to get good at. I'm going to tell you how I'm a great recruiter. I'm not great at a lot. What is Steve Jobs, Oprah Winfrey, nice picture of me there, Elon Musk, Kris Jenner, Rachel Hollis, whoever you talk about, what do they all have in common? I want you to think about it. Different background, different ethnicity, different gender, right? All that stuff. How about these guys? Andy Frisella, Mother Teresa. I love that combo of those guys. Zuckerberg, Martha Stewart, The Rock, my hero, MLK. What do all these people have in common? Anybody know? That's pretty interesting. Let's figure it out. What do they have in common? They're evangelical about their cause. They're evangelists for their cause. What is an evangelist? It's a person who seeks to convert others, especially by public preaching, a zealous advocate of a cause. You got to get evangelical about your cause. Many years ago, I read a book called Selling the Dream by a guy named Guy Kawasaki. I think it's still in print. He helped market Macintosh for Apple, and his point was that they sold a dream there. People want to buy dreams from people. You got to get on fire with enthusiasm about the dream of your business. And you don't got to do it loud like I'm doing it right now, but in your way, that look in your eye, that text you send, that email, that I love you, I care about you, I believe in you. They get that sense from you that you're evangelical about your mission and your cause shifts people. You got to get more on fire. Fred, you got to get on fire, brother. Ivanka, you got to start to get more evangelical about what you're doing. Start to get excited about it. You got to start to connect with people. If you don't begin to do that, look at these veins popping out. You think I'm excited? Look at that. Holy smokes. That's high blood pressure right there. Man, I'm all fired up. Because I'm evangelical about this cause. Okay? Now, you can pull that down for a minute. How do we get evangelical? You can pull that presentation down, guys. I'll come back to it. What do people really want? What is your actual product? What is your actual product? What do people buy? Do you know what people actually are buying from you? What does everybody want? We know now they want love, care, believe in, and they want some help. They got to get that feeling about you. You got to be evangelical about that. Here's what people buy. I'm going to submit something to you. What you sell, and if you can get good at this all the way back, what do I want more of? When a professional quarterback says, will you coach me? What do they want more of? When a leader of a country asks me, will you work with me this year? What do they want? What do they want? I'm going to submit to you what every human being wants more of. You ready? Write this down. Get ready. Happiness. People want to be happier. I know this. I know when I meet somebody, no matter what they're asking me for, more money, my product, the makeup we provide, the whatever the product is that we do, the hair stuff, the this, the that, the other, doesn't matter. They want to be happier. And to the extent that you can sell happiness is the extent that you become viral and get great at your business in your way. In your way. Let me give you a couple scenarios. Number one seller of food in the world is this group called McDonald's. You ever heard of those guys before? You ever heard of them? Say yes if you heard of them. Yes? Why do they sell so much food? Because they ain't in the food business. All due respect to them, the food is not good. And it sure as heck ain't good for you. They've been clogging more arteries for 50 years than about any people on planet Earth. Right? So how do they sell so much food? It's not the best food. Doesn't taste the best. Look, I'm biased. I'm going to get a hamburger. You take my butt to In-N-Out Burger over McDonald's all day, every day. Right? Y'all know a better burger than a Big Mac. All you do. How come they sell more? Because they're not in the hamburger business. Too many of you are in the business you think you're in, and you're not in the happiness business. Anna, you got to get in the happiness business. And remember that and be intentional about it. Ray Kroc got this. In fact, this is crazy. This dude creates a food place. He creates a mascot to sell a bunch of hamburgers. What's the mascot? It's a clown. What the hell does a clown have to do with hamburgers? Absolutely nothing. But clowns are fun. Clowns are happy. And so he connected happiness with the food place. Think about how crazy that is. Yet, by the way, their number one selling meal is a what? A what meal? Type it. It's a what meal? It's a damn happy meal. He's in the happiness business. Dwight and Karen, y'all aren't in the happiness business enough. You gotta start selling more happiness. What's that look like? When you're done with your presentation, you go, listen, can I just be real with you? I think you'd be happier here. I think you'd be happier here. And by the way, now that I'm done, I can make one commitment to you when I'm done with my presentation, Donna. We'll love you. We will care about you. We're going to believe in you. And you know what? At our company here, we can show you how to do better. Start saying exactly what I just said, and you will begin to become more magnetic. I don't give you fluff training. I give you real training. By the way, the number one soft drink in the world that they happen to sell at McDonald's is a Coke. And Coke sell a Coke and a smile. Happiness. The hell does smiling have to do with a carbonated beverage? Absolutely nothing. But if we can get you to believe you're going to be happy to drink this drink, you're going to drink more of it. You're starting to get being an entrepreneur. You're starting to get building a business. These are the different decisions you make that start to shift you. Start saying these things. Let's go to Apple. One of my good friends is Steve Wozniak. He's one of the co-founders with Steve Jobs of Apple. And I've asked him, did you guys know you're going to be doing Mac? He goes, brother, we were a board company. We had no idea what we were going to be or what we were going to do. But I said, hey, Steve, why'd you even name the place Apple? Always wondered, what a weird name, Apple. He's like, two reasons. Number one, A came up in the phone book fast and early. We wanted that. And Steve said apples make him happy. Number one company of all time, they named it because it made them happy. Huh. When you go back and watch old videos of Jobs rolling out a new Mac or a new computer, he would describe it almost like as an inanimate object, like a woman. He'd go, look at her curves. Isn't she beautiful? If you could take her home, you'd be so happy. He sold happiness and built the most viral company on planet Earth, selling happiness to the extent that you can get great at that. Now you're getting it. Now you get, by the way, you want to get more stuff like this? All my stuff's free. Follow me on Instagram, at Ed Mylett, EDMYLETT. You want to listen to a podcast every week that is the best in the world for what you all do? Subscribe on iTunes, Stitcher, Spotify, YouTube, wherever to my show. It's free. Next week, my guest is this little dude named Joel Osteen. Comes out Tuesday. You might want to hear that one, right? I just tell you, I can help you do this. So, let me show you something. Let me tell you a quick story. If you guys could pull my PowerPoint up. See this house right here? I actually sold it, but it's one of the most beautiful homes in the world. I brought people from all over the world to this place, and they've told me it's the most beautiful home in the world. But let me tell you the story of how I got here to this house, because it's pretty interesting. The podcast is called The Ed Mylett Show. EDMYLETT. Subscribe, you'll be happy. See what I just connected it with? Happy. I'm good at this. So, this house right here is one of the most beautiful homes in the world. But let me tell you how I got it. There was this land, and I would drive by on my boat. I had this little crappy boat. My wife and my little kids, I met my wife in kindergarten, and my kids were with me on this boat when they were little. And I'd go by this land and say, babe, I'm going to buy this property someday from this dude. There was this dude sitting out there. I said, hey, Richard, I'm going to buy this land from you, man, someday. He's like, yeah, not for sale, not for sale. Come by the next year. Richard, I'll buy that land. Not for sale, not for sale. Finally, one time I went by, like 3-4 years later, I said, hey, Richard, I want to buy this land from you. He's like, I think the time's right. Come on in here. And I was on my boat. I literally turned my off. I go, oh, crap. I think he said, yes, we don't have any money. We have to borrow this money. I wanted that dream, but I wasn't building it. So I get up there, we make a deal. I borrow the money to buy this place. Everyone thinks I'm crazy. Does this sound familiar? Like, why are you doing this? Isn't enough enough? What's wrong with what you already have? Slow down. Enjoy yourself. Why are you always trying to do more? Does that sound familiar to any of you? Y'all trying to build something, most of the people around you. Why are you doing this? It's not real. It won't work out. When's enough enough? Just enjoy what you got. You hear this from people all the time, don't you? Right? Family saying that to me. Anyway, I try to buy this place, and I bring the contractors out, and they're like, that's a great piece of property. You weren't actually planning on putting a house here, were you? I'm like, my heart starts racing. I'm like, what, huh? Like, you were gonna put a house on this property? You can't put a house here. It's all rock, and there's like water running all over this place. There's no way you can build a house here. I went, oh my God, you gotta be kidding me. Next contractor, you can't build a house here. You can't build a house here. I'm starting to panic. They were all right. All Mr. Big Dreamer here, Mr. Vision Stretching, this dumbass, I've spent all this money and time, I can't even put a house on the property now. I've blown it. I should have just stuck with what I had. And a lot of you are at that stage in your business, you're like, I don't know, man, events, this, that, the other. I just, hey, finally this old guy comes out, old contractor, he goes, well, you could probably put a house here, but we'd have to blow all these rocks up. And I'm like, well, what was that going to cost? He goes, we got to dynamite it. We got to jackhammer it. It's about $10,000 an hour. Now my heart's racing. I said, well, how many hours are we talking about? He goes, I don't know. We'll have to try. 48 days later, they were done blowing up all these rocks. I'd spent every dollar I ever had. My wife thought I was nuts. My family thought I was nuts. This place looked like a bomb had gone off in Beirut. Rocks everywhere, water exploding, people driving by on their boat laughing at me. What the heck is this dude doing over there? It's an eyesore. And I was literally sitting there one day crying, literally crying, thinking I've ruined my life. Everything was fine before. You big dummy, you'd made progress. Look at this mess. Look at this mess you've created. It's like a physical mess. And a lot of you are in that position right now. Remember this. Your mess does not disqualify you with God from building something great. Oftentimes, the more magnificent the thing that's going to be built, like this home, the deeper the foundation has to go. The deeper the foundation. Your mess does not disqualify you. So finally, this contractor goes, hey, I got an idea. We can repurpose all this stuff we've blown up, and we can actually hold the house up with it. So they literally, if you look at my house, see all those rocks in the front? See all the stone? You see all that? That's all the rocks we blew up. We literally repurposed my entire mess and built a masterpiece. One of the great homes that's ever been built in the United States. Repurposed my entire mess. The home is protected from the water with these rocks. The structure is held up with these rocks because God will repurpose your mess and build a masterpiece for you if you will remain faithful, if you will stay after it. He built one of the greatest masterpieces ever in the middle of my great mess. But too many of us think our mess disqualifies us from building something great in our life, and nothing could be further from the truth. You are being tested right now so that you could eventually have your testimony. My testimony is this home. My mess was everywhere. And so if you feel like life's a mess right now, you hold on. You hold on. You get great at recruiting. You get great at selling happiness. How am I supposed to sell happiness, Ed, when I'm living a nightmare? Sell the dream when you're living a nightmare. You don't have to own the dream to sell it. You don't have to own the dream to sell it. You get into that business of believing in people. Let me show you a few things. Go back to my dad. I told you you're one decision away. This is personal. I've only talked about this one time. Hopefully I can get through it. I want you to never forget what I'm going to show you. See, I figured something out. I just finished writing a book. It'll be out in April. And it's weird, interesting. I'm in this personal development space, but my big belief is that people can change their lives. And I'm writing the last chapter of the book, and it's about my dad, and it dawned on me when I was writing the book, the actual reason I believe people can change is my own father. My dad spent 40 years living a particular way. There was always a good man in there, but he didn't live like it. And finally, I'll never forget this. We were driving to a Little League game of mine, and my dad was a dude, like a man's man, right? And we pulled the car over. He pulled the car over. I could tell my dad wanted to say something. And he looked at me and he goes, Eddie, I'm gonna stop drinking. And I said, well, Dad, you've told me that before. What's different this time? He said, I've made a decision to do it this time. Your mom's told me that I'm gonna lose my family if I don't. And your mother deserves the husband that she's worthy of, and you and your sisters deserve a dad that you can be proud of. And my dad in that moment made one decision to change his life. And for the next 30 years, my dad was sober and helped thousands of other people get sober. It was in that decision. That's my best friend right there. My dad did not decide to stay sober the rest of his life. My dad decided to stay sober one more day at a time. One more day at a time. One. You, if you're thinking about quitting, just don't quit for one more day. Just don't quit for one more day. You do things one day at a time, one decision at a time, one meeting at a time. My dad went to meeting after meeting after meeting for 30 years. And he became Dad and I were, that's my dad, good looking dude, huh? That's at my wedding. Good looking dude. One day my dad and I are, by the way, this picture right here is, there's 3 Ed Myletts. I'm Edward Michael Joseph Mylett III. When I show you this, please think about your own life and your own family, not mine. This isn't about me, it's about you. That's Papa in the middle. Papa's a man. Papa's dad died drunk and drowned in a gutter in South Boston. That's where I come from. That's my great-grandfather. Papa, who didn't finish high school, landed on the beaches of Normandy on D-Day. He's a dude. My dad's there to the left. You could see he was drinking then, and then there's me. I looked pretty good back then, by the way. I was cute. 2 weeks after that picture happened, Papa died. And Dad moved to the middle seat, and I moved to Dad's seat. And I remember when Papa died thinking, man, like just a flicker, like he was just here and he's gone. Then my dad and I, who's my favorite dude to golf with, were golfing this day right here. And my dad was coughing real bad. I'm like, come on, Dad, let's go, pick it up. He's like, yeah, there's something wrong. 2 weeks later, they found a tumor the size of a football in my dad's chest. And he went through a 12-hour surgery to remove most of that football-sized tumor, which led to the next 8 years of my dad fighting cancer, chemo, radiation, proton therapy, radiation, chemo, proton, radiation, chemo. And I watched my dad start to leave me one day at a time. I want you thinking about your family, because if you wonder about one decision in your life, you want to know the power of one? What if I took away your opportunity to have one more day with somebody you love? What if today was the last day? You got one more day with your husband or wife or boyfriend or girlfriend. What would the conversation be? What if you had one more day to spend with your daughter or your son? What would that be like? How meaningful would it be? What would you be worried about? What would you think about? What would matter to you if you had one more day, one more conversation, one more dance, one more phone call? I'm getting chills. This is my dad now going through chemo. Can you see the difference on his precious face? My dad fought every day for 8 years for his family and his grandkids. Every day was my dad going through chemo. He was meeting with people, helping them stop drinking, helping them stop using drugs. I didn't know this, but my dad did it anonymously, one day at a time, one person at a time. You can see that it's starting to take its toll on my dad. You can see it there on him, can't you? I'm losing my dad there. I know my time is short with my dad there. Time's short. People you love that you want to make proud of you. It's short. This is my dad last year, 1 year ago, basically today. My dad was in the hospital. COVID, we weren't allowed to go in there. I would ask the nurse every day. I sat in the parking lot every day, send me a picture of my dad. I want to know he's okay. And I watched, my dad was a proud man. Every day he would get up, put his clothes on. He wouldn't wear the hospital clothes. He wanted to get dressed in his golf clothes. He would shave and brush his hair and his teeth every day on his own. And about 5 hours after that picture happened, my dad called me and said, Eddie, I need you to come get me. But except he didn't talk like that because his voice was gone. My dad had my voice when he wasn't sick. And he was breathing sometimes 3 times a minute, sometimes 10 times a minute, sometimes 20. He said, come get me. I want to come home. I want to come home. This is the same dad that I used to listen to the key in the front door. This is the same dad that got me the job at McKinley. This is the same dad who pulled over and said, I'm going to make a decision to stop drinking. Come get me. I said, no, Dad, we'll get you another steroid shot. He said, I have one more day. I have one more day. I want to come home. And he said, I want to be at home with Mom and you and the girls, meaning my sisters. I have one more day. 3 hours later, that's my dad getting wheeled into his living room. That's my mom, his wife of 50 years, watching her husband come into the living room one last time. You're going to have one last time with your mom if you haven't already had it. If you are a mom, your children will eventually someday have one more day with you. I see the lady here with the baby on her chest. Someday, that precious child will be where I was with you. What do you want them to think about you? Do you want them to be proud of you? Do you want them to be proud of your life? Proud of who you've become? Proud of the woman you are? Proud of the man you are? If they've passed away, you could honor them with your life right now. You could decide to honor them, Anthony, with your life. This is me holding my dad's hand 1 hour before he passed away. That's my dad. What do you think my dad was thinking about in those final moments of his life? You think he was worried about bills he had to pay, what haters thought about him? We sat there for that entire day and talked about his memories and his family and what he had become and what he had done. And I was blessed to be there with him in his last breath when he took one more breath. Unfortunately, we think only we're going to die. But someday, Cheryl, you'll have one more day. You'll have one more breath. You'll have one more moment. This life stuff matters. These decisions matter. You matter. And I told you in the beginning, just like my dad, you were born, Daryl, to do something great with your life. And time is running out on you. If today was your final day, are you satisfied with the entire chapter of the story of your life, of all the chapters in the book? Or do you still want to write better chapters? Is there still more in you? Is there still something about you you want to express, you want to do? There's a difference you want to make in your life. Act like you have one more day. And we lost my dad an hour after that. I lost my best friend. I'm telling you, my best friend. In fact, I could tell you honestly that sometimes when I'm speaking of things like this, I go, I crushed it. I can't wait to tell my dad. I can't call my dad again. Hopefully he's proud of me. But if you've had someone pass, honor them with your life. If they're still here, make them proud of you. Courtney, make that little baby proud of you, sister. Do something great. Take some risks. Put it out there. After my dad passed, I was asked to go pick up his affairs, and I just want to share with you what I found. I found all these index cards on my dad's sink, hundreds of them, dates and names and initials. And what these represented was these were all people that my dad had helped get sober, and this was their one day a year where they celebrated their sobriety birthday. There's hundreds of them every single day. And I went to his funeral, and these people spoke that said, it was weird because we lived in the hood, so my dad would have all these roughnecks that he helped, and then he would work. He worked in Beverly Hills, so all these famous people. So at my dad's funeral, a famous actor would get up and go, Ed Mylett changed my life. I walked into a meeting, and this kind man in a sweater walked across the room and said, I'm here to help you if you'd like to stay sober. And that led to breakfast after breakfast, late night call after late night call. Then next guy would get up and he said, man, I served 12 years in Folsom. I've been incarcerated 3 times. Ed Mylett changed my life. Next woman gets up, I'm 52 years old. Ed Mylett changed my life. He'd text me, he'd see me, we'd have breakfast. I never knew my dad did one person at a time. By the droves would come up that my dad changed their life. One person, one meeting, one decision, one day at a time. It was my own name being said he changed my life, which I've heard millions of people say, except it was about my dad. My dad lived a great life. I can't hold a candle to my dad. I'm so proud of him. 20 minutes before my dad died, the phone was ringing over and over, and he tells my mom, Debbie, who is it? My mother said, don't worry about it, Ed. He said, no, is it? It's a Raul. Give me the phone. And I watched my dad in the last hour of his life talk Raul out of going back and drinking. No one would have known my dad did that. There were no cameras there. There was no monetary value. There was none of that. But you know what my dad had for Raul? He loved him. He cared about him. He believed in him. And he showed him how to live a little bit better. That's what a rich life is. And in your business, in this industry, you can take the PowerPoint down. You've got an opportunity to do that every single day of your life. Change another person's life. Do you understand the power you have by introducing them? And I don't say this lightly. This is not to motivate you. Trust me, I don't override any of you, basically. I'm telling you this because I believe it to be true, that you have the power in your hands. Average, ordinary people like us, Erica, like us, Tia, like us, Paul. It's crazy, but the way business works now, we have the power to change someone's life in one meeting, just like my dad did at one of those AA meetings. And by the way, that one decision my dad made is why I'm here today. It's why I've affected millions of people in my life. It's because my dad made that shift. The legacy of these decisions you'll make, the ripple effects are absolutely magnificent, and it'll take years to see them. But when you make these deposits into the universe, this vibration happens, and eventually something happens. And you'll find out it was all happening for you, not to you, when you make these decisions. I got to tell you, I'm proud of my dad. I'm proud that I get to talk about it. It's not easy, but I'm proud of him. Are you proud of you? Are you proud of you? When you look in the mirror, if you maxed out your life, done everything you could, helped everyone, had the memories, had the moments. See, I have this. I'll tell you this in conclusion. I believe the decision you need to make is this. I've studied the numbers. What is the one habit that everyone that fails in our industry has? It's interesting because a lot of the people that fail were good recruiters, bad recruiters, worked hard, didn't work hard, had good people skills, had a good product. It's not that. What's the one thing all the people that have failed have in common? The one thing. They all have the habit of quitting. The one habit you can't have if you're going to win is the habit of quitting. Every time it gets tough, every time your back's up against the wall, every time someone on your team quits, every time it's not going good, I'm going to quit. If you have that habit, you're going to lose. Now, conversely, what's the one habit that everyone who's ever won in this industry has? Are they all great communicators? No. Are they all even good people? No. Some are, some aren't. Are they all really smart? Some are, some aren't. Big, fat, skinny, tall, straight, gay, black, white, Muslim, Christian, all kinds of different things. What's the one thing they all have in common? They didn't quit. Isn't that interesting? That one decision, the best ability is availability. I didn't win right away. I just stayed and got good at it till I got great, till I found that person. And why did I do that? Because I wanted to be somebody. I wanted to make a difference. I wanted to be proud of me. Not the type of proud where you can fake everybody out on Instagram with your post, but the kind of proud that when you're driving in the car and you catch a reflection of yourself in the mirror, you like what you see. I'm proud of me. Man, we did it. We did it. I look at my family sometimes and I'll tell them, we did it. We're an awesome family. We're going to do something great. We did it. They think daddy's crazy. I'm like, we're going to do something great. I'm evangelical about my family. We're going to do something awesome. We're special. We're going to help some people. Why do I feel that way? I'll tell you this in conclusion. I'm a Christian, you could probably tell. I don't care what your religion is. I really don't. I mean, I care, but I don't care. You know what I'm saying? That's not what this is about today. Hope you find something you believe in, that you love, that gives you peace, that gives you happiness, that brings you bliss. But I have this, like, what you really want if you're a Christian is when you die, you get to heaven and God goes, we got a seat at the table for you. Well done, good and faithful servant. But when I get there, I want to see that table, and I think when I get there, my dad's at that table. And I think Papa's at that table. My grandma's at that table. The baby we lost is at that table. I want to sit at that table. Don't you? But I have this other feeling. I think he goes, hey, by the way, I made you an image and likeness. You're supposed to do something great with your life. Let me introduce you to the man or woman you could have been or should have been, the one I made you to be. And you meet them. Rebecca actually meets the woman she could have been. Ed Mylett will meet the man he could have been, the place he could have gone, the memories you could have had, the difference you could have made, the experience, the emotions, the way you feel about yourself, the memories, all of it. You meet the person you could have been. I think that happens. And when I meet that dude, I'm going to say, hey, man, I've been chasing you all my life. And I want him to say, you caught me, brother. I've been watching you. Well done. I'm proud of you. Every decision I make is through this prism of wanting to catch this man. I'm chasing that guy. Peggy, you need to chase her. You're chasing that woman you were born to be. Chase her. Get after her. When you're thinking about making a decision, does this get me closer to that woman I was born to be? Does it get me closer to that man I'm capable of? Because when you catch them, and he says, man, you caught me. I said, yes, that's a great life. To me, that's heaven. To me, it's getting invited to that table, Janine, and heaven is you catch that woman. Seriously, don't you feel that? Don't you want that? When you're done, you go, I'm proud of me. Man, what a life. The things I saw, the people I helped, the way I felt, my emotions, the way I felt most of the time about me. I wasn't riddled all the time with fear and worry and depression and anxiety and doubt and lack. But at some point I made a decision and I turned it around. I started to live with bliss and peace and comfort and greatness and excellence and happiness and laughter and joy. And I caught her. Hell, Anthony, is you meet that dude and you're total strangers, brother. Mercedes, you meet her and you're complete strangers. You didn't have the memories, the moments, the emotions. You missed it. You missed it. That's hell. I want you to live forever in heaven. And here's the great thing about it. That's the decision today. The overwhelming decision today is I'm chasing that person. I'm going to begin to give people happiness. I'm going to act like life's happening for me. I'm going to be evangelical about my family, my business, my life, me. I'm going to help one more person. I'm going to stay after it one more time. I'm looking for that one recruit. I'm looking for that one moment. I'm not wringing out the tube of toothpaste of my life and just squeezing the same thing every day, hoping a little more comes out. But I'm going to reload. And those decisions, now everything you do after that leads you to this woman you could have been. I would be honored to help you beyond today, and I will never ask you for anything. Just listen to my stuff. Just follow me. I was born to do this. I'm going to brag. I'm the best in the world at this. By a mile. Follow my stuff on Instagram. Listen to my show. I say that to you because God's prepared me in my life to try to serve people. I don't say, I'm a goofball. I'm low IQ, alcoholic family, not all that great looking anymore. Never probably was. Past my prime. I'm as, that Toby Keith song, I'm not as good as I once was, but I'm as good once as I ever was. Every once in a while, I put one together, right? And I'm going to tell you this lastly. I'm here to help you. I'm here to serve you. I'm here to love you, care about you, believe in you, and help you just live a little bit better. Just become happier. And remember this last thing, because I got to go. I got to go. Do all the things you don't want to do as fast as you can, so you can do all the things you want to do for as long as you can. I just got chills. God bless you all. Have a great rest of your meeting. Make that decision today. Thank you.
Ed Mylett, everybody. Champion right here. Champion right here. Appreciate you, man. My friend, Ed Mylett. Who got some value from that? Let me see some hands if you got some value from that. It's no accident that he was here. It's no accident that he's part of this. It's no accident that you were here to listen to that message. What I'd like to do right now, before we start our next segment, who would like to share a key insight that you got from just this last presentation from Ed Mylett? Let me see some hands. One decision you're going to make, one way that you're going to approach your life. I love the idea of chasing after the best version of yourself. I love that so much. And the story of his dad, man, everybody. You never see the production people emotional at events like this. But when you backstage, everybody's reaching for tissues. Everybody's, like all of you, trying to get through that emotionally. Create happiness. Talk to more people. Decide and do it. You were born to live amazing lives. Your mess doesn't disqualify you. All right, who's first? Who do we got? Hey, Ashley. How you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. I'm good. So tell me one thing that you got out of this talk.
For me, one of the things that stood out the most was your mess does not disqualify you for God to repurpose you.
Yes.
That is something that rings true in my own story. I come from a lot of childhood trauma myself, and I come from a mess, and I know that I am made for more and that God has a lot in store for me. And I love the idea of chasing after the woman that God wants me to be.
Yeah, and I will tell you, your mess and what you're doing with it is also going to empower a lot of people that have a mess also. If you're perfect, a lot of people won't even try, you know? When you're flawed and you have your challenges, you went through it anyway, it changes people's reaction, and it causes them to feel like they can do it. So give Ashley a big round of applause. And her mess is going to make a masterpiece. All right, who's next? Hey, Nicole. How you doing?
Hi,
So
I'm
what's
doing
the one thing
well.
what did you get out of this last presentation?
Oh my gosh, it was so powerful to me. But the one thing that I got from this presentation was, if you live one more day, what would you say to your loved ones? That was so powerful because we take for granted
Yes.
that we have everybody around us. And
Yes.
yes,
I love it. I love
I'm
it.
sorry.
Give Nicole a big round of applause. Who's next? Hey, Ty.
Hey everyone.
How
Hey,
you doing?
everyone. I'm wonderful, wonderful. What an incredible weekend we're gonna have here.
Yeah, we're just
Spending
getting warmed up.
Yes, yes, indeed.
What's one
Well,
insight you got from this talk?
to love and to come from a position of just helping and loving everyone. I have a big heart for people. I just love, 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 and enjoy helping people, and that just really, really stuck with me. It hit me hard because that's my desire. I just want to just help as many people as I possibly can, love on them, just embrace them, and see everyone succeed. It
Yeah.
just hit me.
Your
Yeah,
intention matters. You
yeah,
know, if you're intending to help, that matters. If you're intending to leave a legacy, that matters. If you're intending just to get the money, however you need to get it, that also matters. You know, it's okay to get the money, but your intention really, really matters. I found that you can get unlimited wealth if you find a way to serve more people.
that's right.
If you find a
Yeah,
way to bring value to more people, all your needs will be met and more.